Hey, welcome to Living the Logic. This is Manish Narayan, and today we're going to continue with our .NET 8 application that can communicate to a local LLM with Llama. So if you remember in our last video, we set up Llama running locally, and if I head over to localhost 11134, you'll see that Llama was running. And then we set up a .NET 8 web API. We had one route here, API chat, where I can ask a question to Llama, right? I can say, what is 2 plus 2? And basically went over to the Llama localhost 11 running on port 11434, and it came back with a response. So you'll notice that it is calling our local Llama. Our API is running on port 7292, and basically it comes back with 2 plus 2 equals 4. All right. So now today what we're going to do is set up a ChatGPT style UI. We'll call that Llama GPT chat or something. All right. And then we'll have that streaming our responses from the local LLM, and that should be up and running soon. That'll allow us to have a GPT chat type of interface. All right. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and close up our API we developed in the last video. All right. We're going to make a slight change to this API, and then we're going to add a new MVC project. All right. So the very first step, head over to your chat controller, and what we're going to do is change this around slightly. All right. So what we're going to do is expand this, and within this chat controller, basically we're going to make the stream equal to true. All right. So we're going to set that equal to true. All right. Now our JSON content, we're going to keep the string content serialized, the payload and everything. All right. Now we're going to change the response up a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove this response here. All right, and instead of post async, we're going to have send async. But before I do that, we're going to create a request message. So we'll say var request message equals new HTTP request message, and you should see that right here. All right, and the HTTP method is going to be a post. All right, and then here we're going to post to our local Llama, so that's going to be HTTP port localhost, port 11434. Okay, and that's going to be /API/generate. So same as before. Okay, and then basically, I don't want to close this, and we're going to pass it the content here. So we're going to say content equals JSON content. Nice. Okay, we'll put a semicolon there. All right, now instead of post async, what I'm going to do is say await and use the same client, HTTP client, and we're going to say send async. So why am I doing this? Well, this is going to allow us to add certain completion options for the response headers. Okay, so we're going to say request message, and here I'm going to say HTTP completion option, and we're going to say response headers read. Perfect. Okay, and basically the rest stays the same here. We check if it's a success status code, meaning a 200 OK from Llama running locally here. And if so, if not success, then throw an error. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and read the string as async, but now we're going to do something slightly different. Okay, what I'm going to do is go ahead and remove this chat response here. Okay, we're going to say response stream instead of response data, because remember now we're streaming the data. So we're going to say response stream equals await. Response.content reads as stream async. So we got to change that as well. So read as stream async instead of string. Okay, perfect. All right, so now that we got our stream, so basically we're going to say response.content type, okay, equals here it's going to be text event stream. Okay, so that's going to be the content type. We're going to add some headers here, so response.headers, and here we're going to say cache control, and here we're going to set this to no cache. Okay, And then finally, we're going to have a connection keep alive. So response.headers. And here we're going to say connection. Okay. And here we're going to say keep alive. Okay, nice. All right, now that we have our stream, we're going to start to create a reader. So we'll say using var reader equals new stream reader. And we're going to take the response stream. Perfect. Okay. And then while it's not the end of stream, so not reader dot end of stream. And here, basically we can say var grab the line, so read line. So we're going to say var line equals await reader dot read line async. Okay. And then here we're going to check if it's not empty. So we're going to say not string dot is null or empty, or white space here, sorry, is null, oops, dot is null or white space, and we'll check the line. Okay, so if not, let me scroll down here. All right, so if not, we'll say await response dot write async, and we'll just say grab the data. So remember, LLM is going to respond with the data, right? So we'll grab the line here, and we'll add a new line here. Okay, and then we'll just flush the body. So we'll say response dot body dot flush async. Okay, and then otherwise, what we'll do is just return empty result. Okay, return new empty result. Perfect. All right, I'm going to just clean that up. Okay, so basically, we changed the payload to stream equal to true. We're adding now a request, HTTP request message with a JSON content posted to the same Llama endpoint. This time we're going to send async and add response headers read. And then we're going to open up a stream, add some headers, the content type, read the stream, and then write the response. Okay, so that should be a slight change to our API. Okay, that's going to be a slight change to our API. Let me just end this here. All right, so that's our existing app we created in the last video. Okay, so if you haven't watched that, please watch that. That tells you how to set up a Llama locally, the local LLM, and then set up a quick web API to chat. All right, now that this API is set up to stream, what we're going to do is right-click the solution, add a new MVC project. So we're going to say new project. Okay, and here I'm going to choose ASP Core Web App MVC Model View Controller. Click on Next. Okay, and we can put it in the same directory as our Llama Chat app. So we'll call this Llama Chat MVC. Okay, and click on Next. And leave everything .NET 8 framework, all the defaults as is. Click on Create. All right, give it a second and it should create our MVC project. Okay, so it comes with a home controller, models and views, fine. All right, so first thing to do, we're going to add or take advantage of SignalR. So I'm going to right-click the MVC project, manage NuGet packages. All right, I'm going to browse, and the first package we're going to install is Microsoft .ASP.NET Core.SignalR. Okay, so we should see Microsoft ASP.NET Core SignalR. There it is, latest version 1.2. I'm going to click on install. Go ahead and apply, accept. Okay. Once that's done, you're going to also install SignalR.client. I see it right there. SignalR.client. That's where it go. All right. All right. Oh, sorry. SignalR. Let's type in client here. Okay, there it is. Microsoft ASP.NET Core.SignalR.client. Click on install. Apply. Accept. Okay. So we have our NuGet packages for SignalR. So the first thing we want to do is add a new controller. So basically I can take the home controller, just go ahead, I'm going to kill these windows. I'm going to take the home controller and copy it and paste. Okay, I'm gonna go to the copy, rename it. We'll rename that to our chat controller. Okay, and basically I'll just copy that name, chat controller, head over and rename these objects here. Okay, make everything a chat controller. All right, I'll get rid of all the other routes here, except for index. All right, so basically we'll just have a chat index here. So I have a chat controller. I'm going to go ahead and right-click the views folder, add a new folder, and we'll call this our chat folder. Okay, so basically I'll take the index from home, copy it, paste it inside of the chat. Okay, and we'll just clear all this out for right now. Okay, so it's our index, our chat controller, and our chat index basically has one action, index, return the view, which is this index CS HTML. Okay, this is where we're going to design our chat, Llama chat application. Okay, so the very first step, let's head over to our MVC project's program CS. Okay, and we'll add all the dependencies for HTTP client and SignalR. So if you head over to the top, just before we build our app, we're going to say builder.services.add HTTP client. Okay, and also we're going to say builder.services.add SignalR. Okay, there we go. And one more thing we got to do for SignalR, we want to make sure that before we run our app, we have an app.maphub. Maphub, there it is. Okay, this is going to be of type chat hub, and I'm going to create that in a second. Okay, and this is going to be pointed to chat hub. So this is our route for a chat hub. All right, and we don't have a chat hub right now, so I'm going to go ahead and create the chat hub. Okay, so basically you can add a new folder to your MVC project, and we'll say add new folder, and we'll call this a chat hub, or we'll just call it hubs, and we'll add one. Okay, and I'll right click and add new class, and we'll call this a chat hub. Okay, perfect. Now our chat hub, what's going to happen is it's going to extend hub. That's part of SignalR. Okay, so notice I need to bring in the using Microsoft ASP Core SignalR. Okay, we're going to add an instance of the read-only HTTP client. So HTTP client. Okay, let Visual Studio autocomplete that. We'll go ahead and inject that in the constructor here. And HTTP client, perfect. And here we will add the HTTP client injected. Okay, so basically our hub is going to have one method. Okay, basically it's going to take a question and then call our local API, right? Our Llama Chat API. Okay, so what we need to do for that is go ahead and set that up. So let's go ahead and add that method. So what we're going to do is say public async task send question. Okay, so we'll say send question, and we'll give it the question, and let's add this method. Okay, so first step is a chat request. Okay, equals new chat request. Okay, so we're going to create a similar models here. You could have a shared models, all right, but here I'm going to say chat request, and I will go ahead and add that. Okay, so you can right click and say generate new file. Okay, and you can move that over to models here. Okay, and just namespace, fine. Okay, and oh, missing closing. All right, so chat request, and that's going to be Llama Chat MVC models. Perfect. All right. So now we take the JSON content. So we say JSON content equals new string content. Okay, and we're going to take the JSON serializer. So it's going to be part of system.text, I believe. So serialize JSON serializer. Okay, we're going to need JSON serializer. That's going to be system.text, yep, .json. And we're going to serialize the content, okay, which is a chat request, basically. Okay, and we'll use the encoding encoding, and let me add a reference to system.text here, .utf8, and this is going to be of type application JSON. Okay, so that should do it for my JSON content. Next, we're going to create a request message. Request message equals new HTTP request message. There it is. And we're going to do HTTP post. So remember, we're going to post to our local API. So post, okay, and that's going to be HTTPS. And I believe our local API was running on port. Let's just check that. Yeah, 7292. Okay, HTTPS localhost 7292. So basically, I can say HTTPS colon forward slash localhost port 7292. Okay, and that's going to be our API. Remember, chat ask. That's the endpoint we defined. Okay, so I'll close that. All right, and I didn't want to close that. I'm sorry. We're gonna remember we have to add the content. So equals JSON content. Perfect. We'll close this one. Okay, let me move this over slightly so you guys can see it. Move this over. Okay. All right, perfect. So we have a request message. Now we just basically say response equals await, and we use our HTTP client dot send async. Okay, dot send async, and we add the request message. And then again, we need to use the, remember, since we're streaming, we're going to say response headers read. Okay, and now basically we just go ahead and check if it's a successful response. So we say if not response dot is success status code. Okay, and here what we can do is, let me scroll down. All right, what we can say is await clients. So this is our SignalR, the caller dot send async, and we'll just send a message. We'll say receive message. Okay, error communicating with our API. Okay, simple error message. Okay, now if it's successful, we'll grab the stream again. So say response stream equals await response dot content read as stream async. Perfect. Notice Visual Studio auto completes that. So say using var reader equals new stream reader. Grab the response stream. Perfect. And now basically again, while it's not the end of the stream, so reader dot end of stream. Okay, end of stream. Sorry, close that. All right, so we'll say var line equals await reader dot read line async. Okay, and then check if the line is not string dot is null or white space line. Okay, and if it's not, basically we just return back to our caller using SignalR. So we'll say clients dot caller dot send async, and we'll say receive message, and we'll pass the line. Okay, so this is our send question method in our chat hub. Okay, and you'll see how we're going to integrate that with our JavaScript. Okay, on the front end. I'm going to save everything. Okay, so now that we have our chat hub, let's go ahead and set up our view. Okay, so we're going to head over to our index. Okay, so we're going to head over to our index. So chat index. Okay, first thing we're going to do is add a view data title. Okay, so we'll add a title here. So say view data, and this is going to be our title, and we'll call this our Llama GPT UI. Okay, again, you can come up with your own name here. Let me just close that. Okay, so basic HTML, right? So say doc type HTML. Okay. All right, and basically adds everything there for us. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and remove this for a second. I'm just going to remove this standard default and just close up this and say HTML for now. Okay. There we go. All right, so let's add our HTML tag. And here we're going to say language equals English. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and close this. And we're going to say, we're going to add our head section and then our body and then close the HTML, right? So actually I can put it in there. Oops, I need a closing tag. Okay, there we go. All right, so inside our HTML, we're going to add the head tag first. Okay, so first thing we want to do is add head. Okay, all right, perfect. All right, and inside here, we're going to just add meta, and we'll say car set equals UTF-8. Okay, all right, and let me just close this up. And then we'll add another one, meta name equals viewport. Okay, content equals, and this is just a standard. You can pull this, again, you can play with it, device width here, and then say initial scale equals 1.0. Okay, and I'll go ahead and close this guy. Okay, do I have the quotations right? Yeah, okay. So next we're going to add a title. All right, so title, and we'll say it's Llama GPT UI. Okay, and now we're going to add a reference to Bootstrap and also SignalR min.js. So we'll say link. Okay, and here in the link we will add style sheet. So it's our style sheet here, and we'll add the Bootstrap. So we'll just say href. Again, you can feel free to use your own style sheets. So here I'm going to say https cd cdn .jsdeliver.net / npm / bootstrap, and this is going to be at 5.3. Again, feel free to use your own version. Dist css bootstrap and .min.css. Okay. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and now add a JavaScript for our SignalR. So script source equals, and this is going to be https cdnjs.cloudflare.com/ajax libs Microsoft and SignalR, and this can be version 7.0.5. Okay, SignalR.min.js. Okay, and then we'll close up the script. Perfect. All right, let's add some style to our UI. Okay, so we'll add some style here. Now, before we add style, what I'm going to do is just go ahead and header's closed. So let's add our body, and then we'll add some style to it. So let's add our body here. Okay, so now in our body, what we're going to do is basically have a chat box, a simple text box with a question text input and then a button to send the question, and then Llama will respond, right, and then post the answer back. Okay, so this is where we take advantage of SignalR and our local API, right? So the first thing you want to do is in our body, we're going to do is add a div, okay, and give it a class, and we'll say it's a container empty5. We'll call it the chat container. Okay, and we'll close this. All right, now we'll add a header here, and this is going to be text center, and we'll say this is a chat with Llama. Okay, chat with Llama. So heading 2. Okay, we'll add another div now for the chat box. Okay, so div, and this is going to be ID. We'll give it an ID. This is going to be our chat box. Class is equal to chat box. Okay, and basically inside here we'll add another div, and this is going to have our typing indicator. So typing dash indicator. Okay, and it'll say something like, AI is typing. So say class equals typing indicator. Okay, and close this, and we'll say AI is typing. All right, so that should be a div. Okay, next we'll have some input areas, right? So div class equals input group. Okay, and inside here I'm gonna have an input button. Type text. Okay, ID. This is gonna be our question input. So this is where we ask a question. So question dash input. Class equals, all right, form control. Okay, and then placeholder. We'll add a placeholder here. We'll say ask something. Okay, and then we'll close this up. And then now we'll add a button to send basically kick off the whole call to our local API. So it's going to be button primary. Okay, I'm taking advantage of Bootstrap here. On click, and we'll say ask LLM. Okay, so we haven't defined that yet. We'll define it in a second. And this can be our send button. Okay, so within our body, we're going to have some script as well. So we'll do that in a second here. So before we add the script, let's go back up to our style. So let's add some style here. So basically, I can add a style tag. Okay, and close this. So inside here, we'll say chat container. And we'll give it a style here. We'll say max width. And that's going to be 600 pixels. Okay, feel free to adjust this, margin, auto. Okay, and then we'll have a chat box style. So we'll give it a height, 400 pixels, overflow, and we'll say in the Y direction, auto. Oops, undo that, sorry, auto. Border, oops, let me fix this, sorry about that. Auto, and then here we'll have a border, and the border 1 pixel, solid, and again, you can use any color. I'm going to do hash CCC, okay. All right, and then padding, give it 10 pixels, margin bottom 10 pixels, background, and we'll give it some color here. Oops, shift this one, and we'll say F9, F9, F9. Okay, that's a white. Okay, let me close that. All right, so that's our chat box. And then we have a user message and a bot message. Okay, so basically what the user types and then what the bot types, meaning what the LLM returns back with. So we'll have a bot message. Okay, and inside the bot message, we'll have a text align left. Okay, background color, and that'll be hash. We'll say 28A745. Shows a green color. Color is white. Padding 5 pixels. Border radius 5 pixels. And margin bottom 5 pixels. Okay, so that's our bot message. Oh, we didn't do a user message. Let me add the user message here. So we'll say user message. Okay, so again, we can copy, basically let's copy this for a second from the bot message, so we don't have to retype it. Okay, let me see this aligned here. Okay, so this one's going to be text align to the right. So user message is going to go on the right. The bot message is going to go on the left. All right, and we'll change the color here. It's going to be 007B, oops, BFF. Okay, white padding 5 pixels. All right, again 5 pixels, 5 pixels. So everything else is the same. That's great. Okay, and finally we'll have a typing indicator. All right, so we'll say dot typing indicator. Okay, and we'll say font style. This is for where it says, italic. AI is typing. color, let's make it gray, and then display none. Okay, by default. All right, so I'm going to save that. Okay, now that we have our UI set up, let's get to the core of our SignalR script. All right. So basically, I'm going to head over to the script area. Okay, and I'm going to say constant connection. So this is where we set up our SignalR connection. New SignalR hub connection builder. Okay, and we'll say dot with URL. So with URL, remember we defined our chat hub, right? So it's going to be /chat hub. Okay, so we'll close that, and then dot configure logging. Okay, and we'll say SignalR dot log level dot information. Okay, and then we'll say dot build. So this builds a connection here. Okay, now that we have our connection built, right, now we can set up our receive message and our function to ask the LLM. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead and set up the receive message. All right. So what I'll do is I'll say connection dot on. So whenever we receive a message from our chat hub, right, basically our local API, okay, we'll set up the instructions here. So once we get the message, okay, so I'm going to do this. Close up that. Okay, so we'll define a chat box, and we'll grab that. So document.getElement by ID, and remember we named that chat box. So we grab the chat box. Okay, grab the chat box, and over here, chat box. Okay, and we'll say let the typing indicator. We'll define typing indicator. Again, this is document.getElement by ID, and this is going to be our typing indicator. Okay, and now basically we're going to hide the typing indicator once the response starts coming in. All right, so we'll say typing indicator dot style dot display equals none. Okay, and then we start to build a response for the question. All right, so we'll say let bot messages chatbox dot get elements by class name, and we'll grab a bot message. Okay, and then we'll take a bot message, a single one. Okay, and then we'll get the latest one, right? So we'll say bot messages, and we'll say bot messages dot length -1. This gets me the latest bot message. Okay, all right. So if we'll do a check here, if not bot message or bot message dot dataset dot completed equals true. Okay, I'll set up this check here. So we'll create a new bot message. So basically, if it's a new response, create a new bot message. So we'll say bot message equals document.create element. So we'll create a new div here to hold our bot message. Okay, so notice how we're dynamically creating this. Bot message dot class name equals bot message. Bot message dot style dot color. So this is where we set up the color equals white. Okay, and then bot message dot dataset dot completed equals false. Okay, so mark is incomplete. All right, and then chat box, basically we append here, so append child and bot message. Okay, so that should take care of the new message buildup, right? Okay, so now in case messages arrive in chunks, all right, we're going to start to split it. So we'll say constant messages equals message dot split, and we'll say data, split on data, filter, message, and we have a lambda expression here, dot trim. So basically trim the message. Okay. Okay. Now we loop through the messages, and we add the text content, right? So basically messages dot for each, say message, and here close this up. We'll say try. Okay, and we'll add a catch here in case something fails. So this console.log to the JavaScript console. Error parsing JSON from, we'll say error parsing JSON. And here we'll throw the error. Okay, so now let's try that. So we'll say constant parse data equals JSON dot parse, and we'll say message dot trim. Okay, if parsed data dot response. So if we get a response there, I'll say bot message dot text content plus equal. So we'll keep appending here as we loop through each message. Data dot response. Okay, and then we'll do another check. If there's no more data, we mark as completed. The data says completed. So we'll say if parse data dot done. Okay, we'll say bot message dot data set dot completed equals true. Okay. All right. And that should take care of looping through the messages there. So I'll go ahead and now that's closed. Okay, so now we'll auto scroll to the latest message. So we'll say chatbox dot scroll top equals chatbox dot scroll height. Okay. Okay. So we've set up the SignalR on receive message connection, right? The event handler. Now basically we trigger. So remember we had a button here to send the message. On click ask LLM. Let's set that up here. So that's gonna be our function called ask LLM. Okay. So basically we want to say async function ask LLM. All right. So basically grab the question input, grab the chat box, and we start to invoke our chat hub, right? Our SignalR chat hub to send the question. So let's say let question input equal document dot get element by ID. And here we're trying to get the question input. Okay, and then we'll say chat box equals, again, we grab the chat box dot get element by ID, and this is going to be our chat box. Okay, and we get also the typing indicator. So typing indicator. So typing indicator equals document dot get element by ID, and this is going to be our typing dash indicator. Okay, and then grab the question. So the question basically is we're going to trim it. So question input dot value dot trim. Okay, and then if it's empty, so if there's no question, basically just return. Okay, you don't want to send an empty message, right? So now let's grab the user message, define that, and that's going to be our document dot create element. This is basically we're holding a div for what the user types as their question, so it shows up in the chat box. Here we're going to say div, and we'll say user message dot class name equals user message. Okay, user message dot text content equals question. Basically, whatever the question is asked, that's the content. And then we basically start to append. All right, so chatbox dot append child, and this is going to be our user message. Okay, and then scroll to the top. Scroll top equals chatbox dot scroll height. Okay, and then basically once we're done, we just go ahead and clear the question input. So question input dot value equals empty string. All right. So while we're waiting for the response, we just say typing indicator dot style dot display equals block. Okay. And now this is an important one. We basically use our SignalR connection and invoke. Remember our method was called send question that we defined in our chat hub C# code. Okay, we send it the question. Okay. So that should define our ask LLM. Okay. All right. Now, basically, I want to be able to hit the enter button on the question input after a user is done typing their question. So we'll just say document dot get element by ID. We'll grab the question input. Okay. Dot add event listener, and we'll say key down function event. Okay. And here, let me just close this. So here, basically, we say if check the key. So event.key equals the enter key. You can make any key you want, tab or enter. I'm going to use enter. Basically, we prevent default. So prevent default. Okay. And then we basically call ask LLM. We invoke the ask LLM method, right, on an enter key click. So you can click the send button or hit enter. That's what we're allowing here for the user. Okay. Basically, start up our connection for SignalR. So we'll say connection.start and add a catch for any errors. Okay, and here, I need to close that. Okay, so return console.error, and we'll say error.toString. Okay, let me save this. Okay, I get that right. Semicolon connection.start.catch function space error. Yes, this one. And I'm closing this guy. Return. Yeah, it looks good. All right, I'm going to save that. Okay, so we have our view. Okay. Do I have a closing tag body HTML? Yeah, good. All right. So we have our view set up. Okay. That was a long one. I'll post the code. So if you guys want to copy this view CS HTML, feel free instead of typing along. Sometimes it helps to understand concepts. Okay. Basically, I have a chat request, right? That's being used by our chat hub. Okay. And then we'll have a chat response eventually, right? So what we want to do is go ahead and launch everything. So before we launch everything, we want to make sure we right-click the solution. We'll say configure startup projects. Start up multiple projects here. The chat app, that's the API, we'll say start. And then the MVC will say start. Click on apply. On yes. Go ahead and click apply again. Hit OK. Now when I hit play, it should start our API as well as our UI. All right, let's see if we have any mistakes. So I'm going to go ahead and hit start. Oh, so before I hit start, I forgot we need to add, remember, our chat view to maybe a tab in the layout. So I'll go ahead, open the shared folder, head over to layout. We can basically grab the first one here, nav item, add it right after the home. We'll call this, remember our controller is going to be our chat controller. Oops, chat. And this can be our index, and we'll call this chat here. Okay. I'll go ahead and save that. And then I'll hit the play button. Okay, so I did notice a few errors when I hit play. So first thing, I forgot, since we create our chat hub, remember to add a reference to Llama Chat MVC Hub's chat hub in your program CS. So it finds this reference here. So it finds our chat hub. That's number one. And if you go back to our index CS HTML, I believe there were a couple errors on trim. So I'm going to just search for trim. I think I have an extra E somewhere. Trim. Yeah, I had a question put trim E, so let's get rid of trim E there. And I believe that's the only place. Okay, so I'm going to hit play here. So click on play. And you should see two windows open. Remember, one is our API and one is our MVC. So this is our Swagger API 7292. And then we have another UI open. Great, perfect. All right, so you'll see a Llama Chat MVC. I click on the chat link. Opened our chat controller, index.cs HTML. I can now try to ask something. So we'll say hello. Click on send. Okay. Looks like I'm seeing some errors here. Let's go to the developer tools and see if there's another error. Okay. Syntax error, unexpected token E. Okay. Chat line 127. Let's head over to chat line 127 here. Okay. Invoke. Let's see. Where's it pointed to? Let's click on this. Parse data. Oh, okay. Parse data. So let's see if it's making a call to our for each message. Okay, let's check that real quick for each message. For each message, that's over here. Oh, let's see the error here. Constant messages equal message.split data filter m.trim. Okay, that looks good for each message. Basically, we're saying parse data equals json.parse message.trim. Okay, parse data.response, and then bot message.text content plus equals parse data.response. Okay, it looks like it's not able to parse unexpected token error communicating with. Okay, so let's put a breakpoint. Let's check. Let's go ahead and stop this. Okay, I'm going to put a breakpoint in our chat hub here. Let's see if it's actually hitting this, and we'll look at the response success status code. We'll go to our chat controller for our API, make sure it's hitting this guy, and check the response as well. So I'll go ahead and play that again, just so we can kind of debug and walk through it. Okay, I'm going to click on chat. We'll say hello. Click on send. Okay, so it makes it to our chat hub. Great. And let's see if the question is there. Yes, hello. Go ahead and step in this. Okay, got a response. Oh, so we don't have a response. Okay. Let's see what the problem is. Not found. Okay, not found. Where's our API? 7292. HTTPS 7292 API/chat. API/chat. API/chat ask. Okay, is that our route? API/chat. Oh, we just had API/chat. Okay, got it. Let's stop it for a second. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. So basically in our chat hub, we had this set to API chat ask. I'm going to go ahead and just make it API/chat ask. We can actually do that. We'll make that ask here. That's not a problem. So I'll go to my chat API in our post method, and we'll say the route is ask. Okay, so let's add a ask here. Should fix it. So basically our API is API/chat/ask. Okay, so let's go ahead and launch it again. Let's see if that works. Okay, so again, it should launch our API and our MVC. Let's see if that fixes the problem there. Okay, let me maximize this. And this is our UI. Head over to chat. We'll say hello. Click on send. Go ahead and sends it. Let's see if it hits our API. Yep, this time it hit our API. Beautiful. API, I'm assuming it works, so I'm going to remove those breakpoints. And there it is. AI is typing. All right. So it looks like it's processing through a Llama running localhost 11434. Waiting for a response. There it is. Success status code true. I can start to remove these breakpoints. Beautiful. Hit continue. All right, perfect. Now we're in business. So we're talking to our Llama. Let's say what is 2 plus 2. Okay, and I hit enter. And hello, how can I assist you today? Oh, it's appending it to the previous message. We want to make sure it appends it to the latest message. All right, so let's go ahead and fix that. All right, so we'll make sure that everything looks good on the append. So I'll go ahead and stop this. But it looks like it is functional. So let's fix the UI here. So we'll go to index. Let's make sure everything looks correct here. So we'll say, let's check this. So connection is good. Connection, receive message. That's probably where it is. The chatbot box equal document.get element by ID chat box. Type indicator, yep. We're going to hide the type indicators. Type indicator.style display none. That one's good. Now we're going to say bot messages, okay, equal chatbox.get elements by class name, and that's bot message. And let bot message equal bot messages. Get the last one. Length -1. That looks good. And we'll say if not bot message or bot message.dataset completed. Oh, this should be completed. Okay, that's why. Let's see, that should fix completed here. I'm going to save that. Goes true. Bot message document create element div. Class name is bot message. Yeah, style color is fine. White. Data set completed. Make sure we have the D on there. That's false. And we append the child. Okay. Do we have any other completed here? Completed. That's a D. Is good. Okay, I'm going to hit play again here. Let's see if that fixes it. Okay, so it should start up our API. We have no breakpoints this time, so let's let it come through. It's our API. Here's our UI. Click on chat. We'll say hello, hit enter. And we should get a response from Llama. Perfect. We'll say what is 2 plus 2. Hit enter. Ah, there it is. All right, so now we're in business. So now we have a ChatGPT style application, but it's talking to Llama, learning locally, our local LLM, basically high level. We're using SignalR to grab the question here. So we'll say, who is Roger Federer? Okay, hit enter. So basically, I pass the question. It makes an API call through our chat hub to our local web API. Our local web API makes a call to Llama running on localhost 11434. And basically, the responses are streamed, as you can see, in real time. It's streamed to the front end. And now we're in business. We're able to chat with Llama, all right? Just like you're able to chat with ChatGPT. So thanks for watching. It's a pretty long video, but hope you learned something. Go through it. Please watch our first video before the series so that you can set up Llama locally in the web API. Again, I'll post a code on GitHub, and you should be able to download it and run the whole solution. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you had fun chatting with Llama, and I'll see you in the next set of videos. Hey guys, if you found the video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. See you next time.